Hey everyone, how's it going?
Hello,
This is let's say you're my better half.
I'm the other half.
Yeah, the other half. I tolerate you. This is Phalebus. I'm part of the Grumpy community.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll call it that.
Yeah.
I wear the pants in the relationship.
Sure.
Yeah. How's everyone going? Oh god, I'm really nervous. Are you nervous?
No.
No. Of course not.
No.
Calm, cool, and collected.
Oh yeah, the beard only came in like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, no. The child's asleep. Touch wood. No, I've gone and jinxed it. No, this is my not so better other half, Phalebus. And he's actually gonna join me. We're gonna start doing a thing every Saturday called the I Don't Know Show, where we talk a lot of shit. Because we do, we talk a lot of shit. So, yeah, want to tell everyone about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Phalebus. It's a weird name and there's a long convoluted story to that. If you want to know later on, I can always tell the story. I've been gaming since I was six and a half. Started out with the Super Nintendo, broke into the PC market not long after that with Command and Conquer, and been sort of console gaming, PC gaming most of my life. I'm now really old, so yeah, and everyone seems to enjoy when I get in on a rant on stuff. So I thought, why not join, Grumpy on doing a podcast where we can, talk about upcoming things that have gone wrong. Yeah, I thought, why not?
I suppose we probably should start with the things that have gone wrong.
Oh, we can do. I suppose out of respect, I feel the first thing we should really do is bring up Chadwick Boseman. Unfortunately, he passed away today or yesterday. I'm not quite.
Today. It was announced today. Yeah.
He passed away, and rest in peace, Chadwick. He was a brilliant actor, and not just for Black Panther. He was in numerous other shows as well, and he will be missed.
Yeah, it's kind of that was a real shock, and like no one knew about his cancer. He kept it like so secret, and he filmed all these movies while battling cancer. It was really insane. So that's kind of like a sad thing. But I guess what happens now with Black Panther? Do they recast, or is it disrespectful to recast? Do they just leave it where it is?
I'm not sure what you could do for that. It's probably a delicate situation over there at the moment. And to be honest, though, they're probably not thinking about it out of respect for him. They'll let everyone mourn first before they make a decision. I mean, Marvel itself has been, Marvel and Disney have been rather quiet on the Marvel Cinematic Universe for the last few months. Like, we've had a whole bunch of stuff from DC with new Batman, Suicide Squad, new games coming out for said movies as well. But no, it's all quiet on the Western Front when it comes to Marvel. I mean, yes, we have the Avengers game coming out next week with the weird looking Avengers from Square Enix. I mean, I've read some interesting things about the game. It might be interesting. But I'll wait and see what other people say first before making a decision. Maybe see a bit more gameplay.
So you're not going to get it on release?
No.
Got burned too many times before.
Only every game that comes out on release.
What about Command and Conquer?
Oh, now that was epic. That was epic.
Alright, so new Suicide Squad movie. Do you have any high hopes for that one?
Well, you don't have Will Smith in it, and there's no Jared Leto. I mean, I couldn't honestly judge Jared Leto's Joker well enough from what we saw in the movie, mostly just because they cut a lot of his content out of the film, and Will Smith not being in it, not really sure what that's about. I think it's a personal choice from him not wanting to be in it. I mean, look, it could be an interesting film, and yes, I will probably see it. Have I got my hopes up for it? Not really, but then I thought nothing of the new Joker film that came out last year.
Yeah.
And yeah, that really knocked our socks off. It was a brilliant film.
Yeah, I had really low expectations because it was another DC film, but that was excellent. What about the new Batman movie?
I haven't watched much of the trailer for it. People keep telling me that I should do, but yeah, I'll get to it when I get to it. Like a lot of these things, I don't want spoilers, and they always seem to drop spoilers in movie trailers, and it really shits me to tears when they do that because it's you drop the big bombshell in the trailer, and it's like, cool. I don't have to be mind blown by it now because you've already told me how it's all going to go down. Swell.
Yeah, I don't know. You gotta watch the trailer.
I think you're right though. Marvel did make quite a lot of money out of Endgame, like a ridiculous amount of money, but it was an epic film, and like with Infinity War, you know, it got built up, and it was Infinity War was amazing, and then for the knockdown you get for it, the emotional toll at the end of it was just really really well done. Then you had Endgame, which was just it was a really good send off. I feel for the original Avengers. I mean, sure you've still got like Hulk and Hawkeye, but there's no more Natasha. But even Natasha's death was somewhat watered down, I felt, because you knew that she had an Origins movie coming, so you were still going to see more of her. But for me personally, the worst part was having Tony Stark killed off.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, you know, a year ago now. You know, Iron Man was what really brought me into the Marvel universe, or the cinematic universe, I should say. And Robert Downey Jr. did a brilliant job on playing as Iron Man, and yeah, to have him killed off, like it was. I mean, his character had lots of development through the years of the cinematic universe. Like he went through his ups and downs, and it was just look. To cut a long story short, it was a brilliant send off.
Okay, so with the next phase of Marvel movies, do you have as higher expectations as you have with this past phase?
I don't know. We don't really know what they're building up to in. What are they on phase 4 now?
Phase 4. So I think it starts off with the Black Widow movie.
I thought Black Widow was a standalone. I don't know if it ties into phase 4. But I believe phase 4 is meant to kick off with. I don't know if it was meant to be the new Black Panther film, or if it was meant to be Doctor Strange, or if it was Captain Marvel 2. Any of those could be interesting to see where they go. Like with Captain Marvel, you've got like it hints towards the Skrull Secret Wars, which could be a really good fun time. Doctor Strange's and the multiverse of whatever it was called, multiverse of horrors or whatever. Like the Doctor Strange film, the original one, I loved it. It was brilliant. And then with it tying into the TV series for Loki, and you got Loki will be a big one, and I'm really looking forward to that. But you've got Falcon and Winter Soldier in their film series. You got Scarlet Witch and Vision in their series, which should be really good.
Doctor Strange comes out in 2022. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, 2021.
So that would be the Ten Rings one. Would be a follow-on from Iron Man. Now, if you remember it was a brief throwaway line in the original Iron Man film where the terrorists that originally kidnapped Tony Stark were part of the Ten Rings.
Oh, yes.
And then they sort of briefly touched on that in Iron Man 3, but, where they made the Mandarin to be Trevor Slattery. And I gotta tell you, that was absolutely hilarious. I thought it was just brilliant. Like, I wasn't expecting it, and I thought it was really well. Like, yeah, it was just, I mean, for Sir Ben Kingsley not to be the bad guy it was great.
I think they did that really well with that tie-in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, I guess expectations. What would you look forward to most?
I don't know. Like we knew sort of relatively early on, with the phase ones to three, that Thanos was the bad guy, and it was building towards the Infinity Stones, the Infinity Wars. Early on in the piece, especially with Captain America, where you had the Tesseract and the Space Stone.
Yeah.
Like it alluded to it very quickly, and you could see where they were going. This one, I feel like they're probably going to do phase four. Will be either build up to the new big bad, or it'll be recovery from everything that happened. Like you saw a little bit of recovery in Spider-Man, but I think it's barely scratched the surface, sort of thing. Especially with the way everyone just, blipped away, as they put it.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of explaining around that. What do you think they could have done better with phase 1 to 3?
Look, I mean, there's some things you could always go back on to make different, but if you went back and changed it now, you'd be, you don't know where you'd be at. You've got, I mean, there was Iron Man 2, like, they could have changed that up a little bit, but I'd also like to see where Justin Hammer now falls into it, because, like, they built him up to be a big part of it, and then that was all she wrote for it. There was, you've got the real Mandarin that was now meant to be coming into play, and he may do with this new film, so that will be interesting to see where they go with that. You've got the scrolls that'll be coming up. I'm looking forward to Captain Marvel. Like, I know many people are saying that they don't like Brie Larson as Captain Marvel.
I think she's phenomenal in that role.
I thought
she was really well.
I thought she was really good too. I did see a few weeks ago someone was posting, like, if they'd had I'm trying to think of what her name is now. She was in a spy movie just recently, and it's not Scarlett Johansson. It's I feel really bad now. I can't remember her name, but it was a brilliant film. It's got James McAvoy in it, the guy from Flintstones in it, John Goodman.
Oh, I think I know.
She's a South African actor.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, it was really recent they did a film. That's TV, I think. Yes.
No, yeah, these are all movies and TV. Captive State?
No, not Captain State. Scroll down a bit more. Atomic Blonde.
Yeah, I know who you're talking of. It's Charlize
Theron. Yeah. Like, I saw where people, like, shopped in Theron over Brie Larson, and I thought that, like, I could see Charlize Theron doing it, and that would have been awesome. But I do think that Brie Larson's a really good actor, and, for all the people, the haters out there, where they're like, oh, but, she doesn't show much emotional depth in it. You got to remember, she was brainwashed by a hyper-intelligent AI to, control her emotions. So, you got to give the character time to build.
Yeah, but it's Marvel, and they have really good character development, and we've only had one movie from the series. I think there's probably a lot more that they can develop with her, especially with that emotional sort of barrier that she's got at the moment.
Well, she won't have that now, so she's she's free of the the influence from the Kree.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be interesting.
Do you think we'll ever see X-Men come into the fold?
Well, they sort of it feels like they might have already tried introducing it with the whole. If you listen to the exposition at the start of Endgame, where Thanos snapped his fingers, and it was the ground zero for a ridiculous amount of cosmic radiation, which could then be used to bring in X-Men. So it'd be interesting to see. Like, the X-Men franchise has certainly been going somewhat downhill for a very long time, and it's been a slow, painful death with each new film they keep bringing out. Like, don't get me wrong, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, They do a brilliant job as Professor Xavier and as Magneto, but the films just don't stand up, unfortunately. Like,
not compared to the originals.
no, no.
Way.
Like, look, the originals, yeah, they had their flaws and stuff too. Like, you know, I will always know Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier as well, and Sir Ian McKellen as Magneto. But they've got numerous other film franchises and TV. Well, I don't know about McKellen for TV series, but Patrick Stewart, you know, you got Star Trek. You've got a lot of stuff with Patrick Stewart and Sarah Ian McKellen. And just so everyone knows, the day either one of those passes, it should be a world mourning week to recover from either of those two passing away, because they are world treasures, the pair of them, Sir Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen, and I will be Devo if either of them were to pass away.
See, I can't imagine a world without Sir Patrick Stewart. I just think, I don't know, he's just everywhere and he's just so phenomenal.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, I suppose, I guess it's a wait and see thing.
Certainly hope not.
Not with the death thing, dickhead. I mean, about Marvel and I guess what their future holds. I know we're not going to get a Marvel movie this year.
No, I don't think we're likely to. Not with the way the world is travelling at the moment.
And we're probably, I don't know, the way it's probably travelling is we might not even get a Marvel movie next year.
I think there's certain restrictions on the filming, but it really just depends on where they're doing it, how they're doing it, you know, safety concerns, things like that.
Well, I suppose on that note, what about game releases?
Well, I mean, we've got a number of game releases still to come this year. So we've got, you know, the big ones, Cyberpunk. Been looking forward to that for a really long time. And then when they dropped the teaser that Keanu Reeves was in it as well, I was just like, I couldn't throw money at the screen hard enough to be like, I will buy 10 copies of this game for Keanu because he is my man. The dude's a legend. But then you've also got things like, and I mean, I know it may not be popular here, but you got the new expansion coming out for Warcraft. You got Shadowlands, which I've been looking forward to. I've been an active WoW player since vanilla, so I've been there through all its ups and downs. You know, looking at you, Mr. Pandara, Warlords of Draenor.
Oh come on, they weren't terrible expansions, but this is somebody who hasn't really played the original, so I thought they were quite good.
Yeah, and then you go back to Classic, and you're just like, I love me some Classic.
Yeah, I must admit I am enjoying playing Classic. It is a bit of a different experience. It's sort of not what I thought it would be.
It's not all handed to you on a silver platter.
Yeah, I guess so. I think I like the challenge. Just annoyed that I don't do enough DPS. Okay, so like Cyberpunk and WoW. Do you know what else is coming out this year?
We've got the expansion for Destiny coming out, so Beyond Light. That'll be really awesome. Where we finally get to play as the Darkness subclass. If any of you have been watching the trailers for that. It'll be really interesting to see where they're taking it. Like, we've got the gameplay you can do now, in where that's traveling towards. So it'll be interesting to see where they take Beyond Light.
Do you think Destiny 2 has redeemed itself in terms of content compared to when it first was launched?
Well, they've had some sort of hard resets on it, and there's stuff missing from it, and there's stuff they're taking out from the game with Beyond Light. But I mean, as the game stands now, like, it is ridiculously huge on PC and console. Like, it's crazy in size. So they'll be taking planets out, things like that. But apparently, from what I've been reading, it's going to be, what do they call it, phased content. So the darkness will recede over certain planets at times to allow the planets to come back. So that'll be really cool to see where they go with that. It'll just be really interesting.
So I'm probably going to lose you for a week between the new Shadowlands and the new Destiny 2 expansion.
Well, that's right. So you got Cyberpunk, which comes out in what's it, mid-November?
Mid-November, unless it gets delayed again. So
we've also got we've got Shadowlands in late October.
Yep.
And then we've got the Destiny 2 expansion about a week and a bit later.
Yep.
And then I think it's Cyberpunk is in November.
Is there any other standalone games that you're looking forward to? Or do you even know what's being released?
I haven't followed much on it this year. Like, there's been more pressing concerns with things. Like, I know there's things like there's Batman. There's probably a whole bunch of.
There's a Suicide Squad game as well.
There's what?
Oh, actually, that's 2021, 2022. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we had Ghost of Tsushima not too long ago.
Oh,
absolutely loving it. I mean, well, we've got the new consoles that'll be coming out in a couple of months' time. So we've got like the new Horizon Zero Dawn coming out, which would be pretty awesome.
Actually looks really good because they're actually going to explore more of America. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, there's the new COD.
We've had Last of Us Part 2.
I don't know how to take Last of Us Part 2. Like, the plot for the story for the first one was good, but like, I don't really feel like they've explored it well enough because it's sort of. But then that seems to be all survival games where it's like, instead of banding together as a human race, it's always, nah, we've got to kill each other for these small amount of resources left, and to hell with the consequences. Like, guys, engage brain. Like, I mean, I know the world's a pretty messed up place, but I honestly don't think in a situation like that people would be so moronic that they would, sacrifice more valuable lives if something like the zombie plague or the Last of Us 2 zombie plant fungal thing.
Last of Us Part 2 is more of a revenge game, though. And I don't think, like, it probably had its merits to be a revenge game, but I don't think they probably expanded enough on it. I think it was just all about the whole revenge. But then again, I haven't played it. I've only watched a lot of gameplay, so I can't really comment. And then again, I haven't actually finished The Last of Us Part 1. Nor have you.
I haven't started it.
I thought you did. Oh, there you go. Learn something new every day. What do you think of Ghost of Tsushima Game of the Year?
I would not say Game of the Year, no, because for starters, the year's not over. We've still got Cyberpunk to come out. We've still got expansions for other games that are coming out. There'll be other standalone games that'll be coming out, I'm sure. Like, we've got Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
We've got there's meant to be 20 plus games on each new console. So whether they're console exclusive or they're just new games out the bat when the new consoles come out, like, I'm sure some will be shared titles. Will be interesting because we're meant to have the new Assassin's Creed. That could be interesting. I mean, if they return it to their roots a bit more, yes. Like, I enjoyed Odyssey for what it was, but there comes a point in time where these games are just too big and it's just monotonous. Like, it got to the point with Odyssey for me where, because I was having such a grand old time killing all the bounty hunters that were chasing me constantly, I got in such a position where they were so difficult to kill that it just became frustrating because they were everywhere and they'd sniff you out of the drop of a hat and then dropped it.
So it won't be Assassin's Creed, it'll be more like Berserker's Creed.
Well, look, I mean, I suppose you could have called the first three that as well. I mean, sure, it was meant to be a stealthy game, but if you wanted to Rambo that thing up with swords, you could do, and it was hilarious as you just parry everything and just tee through it.
Yeah, but I don't think, like, they're never ever going to beat the original 3 games. It's never ever going to go back to what that was. And I think their whole thing is they just want more and more content in the whole game.
Yeah.
And the whole scaling of the bounty hunters and the quests as you go, that kind of made it frustrating. But then again, I don't know. It's just a matter of waiting and seeing. It was just iconic for this series.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he that character built the series.
Mm-hmm. I also liked the tie-in between the now and the past and that kind of storyline in the first 3 games, and they sort of just abandoned that and moved forward, and then.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you had the overarching storyline of the apple and what it represented, and the aliens that brought it to us and stuff like that, and that the aliens weren't talking to Ezio or the other counterparts in the other storylines. It was more to the person that was reliving the timelines. And I thought that story was really cool, and I was really interested in it. And then they just sort of brushed it aside because the player base was more like, no, we just want to go run around killing things. And I'm like, yeah, I get from a standpoint where, yeah, absolutely, if that's what people want to do, then that's what they're gonna do. But you can't sacrifice your game story for the sake of appeasing the masses, where it's just, oh, we just want to kill stuff. Like, you can still do that in the original 3, but people are just, oh no, we don't care about the story. And I mean, for me personally, like, the thing that draws me in on the game is the story, and if the story's shite, I'm not gonna finish it.
Do you think Odyssey redeemed itself with the storyline, or do you think it was just there was not enough there?
It's difficult to say. Like, Odyssey's storyline, though, I played as Cassandra, and I thought her storyline was brilliant, but they really, really shoehorned in the brother's storyline, where, like, you could play as him because, and I quote, people don't want to play as a female assassin. And I'm like, well, that's just plain wrong. Like, she was my first choice as an assassin because I was like, that's really cool.
But so how do you feel about the fact that they said that people don't want to play as a female assassin? Like,
well, I think that Ubisoft, whoever's in charge of making these decisions, probably has their head too far up their ass. I mean, you've got the Mass Effect series where you could play as Femshep. And I always, my first playthroughs on every Mass Effect game have always been Femshep, even with Andromeda, where you had stupid Ryder and Ryder. The 2 most forgettable characters that I just did not give a shit about. And it's like, oh, brother, where art thou? I just did not care for the writers. Like, the dad was a badass. And then you had Sarah and bloody what's-his-name. I mean, that's how forgettable they were.
Yeah, wow.
And the storyline for Andromeda could have been so good. And there were parts of it that were really good. And then you have a forgettable throwaway enemy that was just like, Like, you had the first one where they make out that it's the Geth that are the bad guys, but it's not really the Geth that are pulling the strings behind the scenes. You had the Reapers. And that was awesome, that. And like, and one of the best things I remember from Mass Effect 1 was when you first meet Sovereign and he's talking to you, and the cool things that they had planned for it. And yeah, I mean, they sort of pulled that storyline too, but the rest of the gameplay and the story was quite good. I mean, the red, blue, and green ending at the end of 3 was kind of a color-blinded letdown. But I mean, in a game series like that, where you've had thousands of choices and branching storylines, like, it is very hard to bring it all together. And with the options they presented to you, like, yeah, sure, they probably could have presented more options, but I mean, some of the things that there's parts of the Mass Effect story that really still don't make sense, and it's like, if anyone engaged brain on it for longer than 3 seconds, it's like, how did the Reapers possibly lose when Shepard was there? Like, they had Mass Effect 1 where, oh, well, we'll shut down the station so the Keepers won't activate the Citadel, and then what's his name was there? I keep thinking Sarah, but that's Star Trek. Whoever the bad guy was in the first one, I can't think of what it is. It's not Sovereign. He was just it was dominating someone to do it. But you eventually you kill him, and they don't get to call in the Reapers through the Citadel. Spoiler alert if you haven't played Mass Effect. But then it's just a case of, you know, you had then Mass Effect 2 where the Reapers are still coming, and they let the new enemy race try to summon them in. Still didn't work, but they're almost here. But they get here and then they just randomly attacking all random parts instead of focusing their shit down like they did. If you listen to the storyline where they shut down the mass relay network, and it's like, but this time, oh no, don't worry about that. We don't need to do it this time. Like, what? You for real? Like, you literally went and did that for every other time you've gone and wiped out every race that ever existed every couple of millions of years, and then this time you're like, nah, we'll just attack everything all at the same time, because fighting a war on multiple fronts is always a good winning attitude to take.
Do you think EA and BioWare have effectively killed the Mass Effect series after Andromeda?
I honestly hope not. I really hope not.
Do you think now that a new Dragon Age has been announced that we could potentially see another Mass Effect in the works?
I'd certainly hope so. And hopefully they get their shit together and don't decide to use something like the Frostbite engine again. Like, don't get me wrong, the Frostbite engine, yes, it is very, very pretty. And it looks really nice for a first-person shooter. But as soon as you have to introduce doing things with inventories and stuff like that, it becomes an absolute nightmare for things like Andromeda, for Dragon Age, things like that. It blows production times out of the water because of how much it is that they need to put into it.
I suppose, I don't know, is there any redeeming qualities now to the Mass Effect series? I think they really fucked it with Andromeda.
Yeah, see, I was when you finished Andromeda, and again, spoiler alerts if you haven't finished Andromeda, you know, there was talks of the other arcs appearing and stuff like that, and it was like you're exploring a new galaxy. Like, they could literally do anything they could dream of because it's a new galaxy. But that all sort of fell by the wayside because it didn't make the sales expectations that EA was planning on. And it's like, guys, like, it's a, whilst yes, it's a continuation on from a series that has sold very well, it is still a new standalone part of that franchise that may not necessarily sell as well as you think it will.
Do you think EA now has potentials for, I guess, new game series with the next gen console releases?
In what way?
Well, they've got Battlefield, Dragon Age, Mass Effect to a degree, The Sims, and then they've got their sporting lineup, but they haven't really announced anything new.
No, you got the new Star Wars game that's coming out in a couple of months, Squadrons.
Yeah.
So that could be interesting to see where they go with that. Although, to be fair, like, they're releasing the Squadrons as a standalone game, and why the hell was it not part of Battlefront? Because you had, if any of you has played it way back in the day, the original Battlefront 2, not the abomination that EA brought out, you had space battles, you had land battles, you had all of those things. And then for these dickheads to turn around and be like, nah, man, our technology just can't do that. Like, are you smoking the crack?
BattleBoss is hoping that they bring out a new SimCity. I would like a new SimCity.
Ooh, yes. I would absolutely love a new SimCity. I've been playing SimCity for a very, very long time. There was even a copy of it that came out on Super Nintendo, which I got, and it was awesome.
Wait, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow, I did not know that. I don't know, I think EA is kind of stuck in the mud a little bit, and they've got the Star Wars franchise, and they're bringing that to The Sims with their new game expansion, game pack, game content. I'm really not excited for it. I don't think it belongs there. I think it's just cash cowing.
I had a quick read on it for the Star Wars DLC that's coming out for The Sims, and it was just, it really did not tickle my fancy. Like, no. There was a Sims game they brought out years ago, Medieval.
Oh, that was a standalone, wasn't it?
It was a standalone Sims one where it had things like quests in it. You had all sorts of random things in it, and it was cool. It was different. You know, all of these game developers that keep milking the same franchises to death. Like, just release something new. I mean, any of the new stuff that's coming out is either it's so hush hush now. Like there was one that was announced last year, I think it was at E3 from I can't even remember which developer it was. It was like Starpoint or Star Control.
Oh, that was Bethesda.
Yeah, Bethesda. It was Starpoint. And I mean, they released a teeny sliver of information about it, but I mean, I'm a huge sci-fi junkie, and I want to know more about it. It'd be brilliant, but just absolute radio silence. However, have all this cool new news about Fallout 76 and all the shit that they've done. It's like, cool, you've released a full-blown game 2 years after the game came out. And well played.
Don't forget Battle Royale.
Oh, god damn it. Can we stop with Battle Royale? Like, we've had so many, I mean, we've got
Fortnite, PUBG, Call of Duty has a Battle Royale mode.
The last 3 Call of Duties have had a Battle Royale mode. Like there's so many
Apex.
Apex. Yep. I'm pretty sure there's even one probably coming for Battlefield, no doubt.
Oh no, there was 2 more I think came out. Ubisoft's released their own Battle Royale, and I think EA's done another Battle Royale.
And Riot has as well, Valorant.
Yeah, that's right. So,
like, guys, we don't need so many battle royales. Like, yeah, it's fun when you're playing it with others, but when you're playing it by yourself, it's boring as shit.
There you go. Even Civilization has a battle royale mode.
Yeah, but the Civ one is kind of, I don't know if you've played it. It's a bit different than normal. I unfortunately have not had a chance to play it. I would really like to, but yeah. But it's a turn-based thing. It's not all down to this dude's got like 3 milliseconds more than you or less than you, and or people lag switching, because it is a huge problem with those sorts of games, especially in the PC market, because they are a lot easier to break down and hack than a console game is, because there's a lot more restrictions on a console for what you can do with that.
Yeah, well, look at all the hackers in Fall Guys, and it's a casual game, and these people are hacking to win.
Well, that's right. I mean, but the thing is like in these battle royales on the PC and stuff, there's such a teeny tiny amount of team that are policing these things that these people just don't get caught. And even if they do get caught, it's a free game, so they just make another account and keep going. What does it matter?
Yeah, well, they don't really care. I suppose, back onto the Bethesda bit. They've announced Starpoint. They've teased a new Elder Scrolls game. But they've been surprisingly quiet this year. Do you think they've got something big in the works? Actually, no, they did have one release, one announcement at E3, but I can't even remember what it was.
Wasn't that it was the Skyrim expansion for the Elder Scrolls Online? Yes,
there was that, and then there was another Dishonored style game.
Oh yeah, they're bringing out another Dishonored variant. It's like... Yeah. But why? You already have Dishonored 1 and 2. Like, did you not like the 2 that came out so recently that we'll reboot it and rebrand it as something different? Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, the first one was great. The second one I didn't end up finishing because I was just like, it's more of the same. Like, the first Dishonored was good fun and it was great. But I got into the second one and I'm like, it just feels exactly like the first one. Like, yeah, you've got a different hero you can play as this time, but it's just like, eh.
Do you think Bethesda's fallen into the trap of, well, their stable houses Fallout and Skyrim, so we'll just keep re-releasing that shit, or we'll just keep pushing content for Elder Scrolls Online?
I'm waiting for when, you know, the new next gen, so PS5 and Xbox 1.2 or whatever the hell it's called.
Xbox Series 6?
I don't know, Xbox X, whatever the hell the new Xbox is called. You know, they're gonna have the super duper mega remastered edition of Skyrim Make 3 for you, that you'll have to pay for mods again for, obviously, to milk the Skyrim money a little bit more. Like, guys, you've re-released it like 10 freaking times.
Don't forget the Alexa version as well.
I'm accounting the Alexa version.
And then I suppose you've got Fallout 76.
Oh.
They're really pushing that. And then speaking of a game that keeps getting re-released and re-released, Grand Theft Auto 5 is coming to next gen.
Yeah, but that, like, there's not a way for them, like, to make it prettier on consoles than what it already is going to be. Like, I highly doubt they're gonna have even more higher unres or deres pictures, whatever you want to term it as, to make it look better on a console. Like, unfortunately, boys and girls, it's not going to look as good on a console as it is on a PC. And there's only so much hard drive space that they're going to throw in on these consoles. I mean, the new, well, it's not the new, but the Call of Duty that's out right now, like, that receives every couple of days like a 300 gigabyte patch almost. Like, you have that installed. I think it's 200 gigabytes from the get-go. You know, that's a fifth of your hard drive space for one freaking game. Like, seriously, what the shit?
Have they actually announced hard drive spaces for the next gen consoles?
I believe they're 1 terabyte.
1 terabyte. So what, you probably get 5 games?
No, you'll get 4.
4?
Because you got to remember, some of the hard drive space is reserved for the operating system on the actual console itself.
True. So you'll get 4 games, and you'll have to expand your hard drive. Do you think consoles, they're never ever going to catch up to PC, but do you think people are going to start using consoles as a replacement to PC?
People already do that now. People use console because, unfortunately, the whilst yes, the PC will always run better for games and things like that, there is always a cost to that, and you know, keeping your machine up to date fairly regularly can be an expensive exercise. It's not as cheap as, say, buying a $500 console that just like, yep, you can just plug it in, turn it on, off you go. You buy a PC, you're looking 2, 3, 4 grand. Then you got to build it, you got to install it, you got to dick around to get everything working, get it all installed, everything's hunky dory, sweet as. Whereas with the console, you plug it in, turn it on, sign in, job done.
Where do you think the starting point's going to be for next gen consoles in terms of price?
With the specs that we're seeing and some of the figures I've been seeing, easily, like here in Australia, at any rate, anywhere between $750 and $1,000.
Do you think, okay, so which console's going to have the bigger uptake? PlayStation or Xbox?
Honestly, at this stage, I believe it will be PlayStation.
PlayStation?
With Halo Infinite not being on the release slate for the new Xbox, it's really shafted Microsoft. And because of that, I don't think the Xbox was... I mean, to be honest, the only real reason I was looking at getting an Xbox was for the new Halo Infinite. Like, yes, I know I can play it on my PC, and I'd probably play it on the PC at the same time. But it's also a game that I can play couch co-op with, you know, the other half, that we could have had a good time on. But with it now being delayed till 2021, I mean, look, no one predicted what was going to happen this year did happen, and it's really a shitty circumstance that everything's been delayed the way it has. But, you know, it is what it is. But because of that, you know, one of the flagship titles that Microsoft are like, no, we've got to get this out for when the new console's out, is not out.
Do you think they jumped the gun with the gameplay trailer for Halo?
Yes and no. Like, I know they had to show something for Halo, but the footage they showed was not a finished product. There was more work that was being done to it, but they honestly should have released something that they knew was working and looked good, and not something like it's just come out of the Xbox 360.
Do you think Halo is going to have that graphical upgrade that people are expecting, or do you think it's going to be the same old game, just a different day?
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where they go with it. Especially because it's being released on PC as well. Like, I know that they're going to share the same new Slipstream engine and things like that. But, you know, 343 are taking a chance. They're changing engines. You know, something that Bethesda should have done like 10 years ago, but don't worry about that. You know, they're taking a chance. And look, kudos and to them for telling, you know, that no, it's not ready. And to be honest, you know, and they did the same with Cyberpunk. It's not ready. It's going to be delayed. And I would rather a game be delayed and released and look good and play good and not have, you know, crashes that break your shit and frustrate the Christ out of you, over waiting an extra month or two for me to play it, and it's just seamless gameplay and it's awesome and knocks my socks off from the get-go.
Do you think we're still going to have big day one patches?
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially because you can preload your content, or if you're buying physical copies of the games. But those games would be slated as a gold release, as they call it, months before the game is actually due to be released. And in that time, because of the way the internet is around the world now, you can obviously playtest these games a lot more before the actual release date to ensure that when people have this game, they can cop all those patches from the get-go and not have these problems. I mean, yes, you have the games from yesteryear from things like, the Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation, things like that didn't have internet and didn't need patching. But games have technologically advanced, 10 zillion fold since then, where, to ensure that these things work properly and you have the best experience, they need patching. Like, those game cartridges for like a Nintendo 64, like the whole game fit on, 128 megabytes of hard drive storage. Like, that's just not feasible for stuff that you play now. Like, that's maybe a single bloody image.
Do you think the consoles are going to go the same way as PC and it's just going to be digital only?
Eventually, I do think it'll get to that point. And you might actually, and to be honest, I don't know why Microsoft and Sony don't offer something like that now. Like, well, sorry, that's not. They do have the discless console, but the thing is with that is you have to buy a game to play it, and you buy it, and then that's it. You can't say no, it's trash. I don't like it. I'm gonna take it back. Why not give people the option to be able to rent the game for a week? Or you can rent it and you can download it at any time, and your rental on that won't start until you start actually playing the game, not downloading it. So for those that do have terrible internet, they can download the game, have it finished downloading, and it's not using up their time when they could be playing it. So that once it is ready to play, then you've got 7 days to go nuts on this game, or however long they want to work it, and it'll be, you can play the game. Yep, it's cool. I like it. I'll buy it. I want to keep it. Or it's going to be, it's not bad, but it's not something I want to keep. So, you obviously don't pay for the game and the rental expires and it just removes itself from your console. Once you tell it to uninstall, obviously. But until you do that, it just sits there. It'll copy updates and things like that. But until you actually pay for the game or re-rent it, it'll just be like, yeah, no, you can't play this.
Do you think we'll start to see more Game Pass style memberships?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Microsoft is finally getting rid of gold for their Games Pass. Yep. I think Sony have the same now. Like, there's not a...
no, Sony still runs PlayStation Plus. I think they were trialing something like that in America, but there hasn't actually been much more conversation around that. They're still banking on people wanting to pay for PlayStation Plus.
I don't know. I mean, I do think you're honestly going to start seeing things move towards annual passes for things. I mean, Destiny has annual passes. What else has annual? Every single Battle Royale has a season pass now. And that season only seems to last like 3 minutes after it's come out.
Yeah, so I think it's like a month, I think. 2 months.
I don't know. I played Fortnite 3 times, and then I was just like, nope.
Well, I suppose you got EA with EA Play. Did EA Play that game?
The premium.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, the EA one's different. So the EA one, all of their games are always available whilst you have that premium access.
But that's top tier. So they got top tier, and then they got like a mid tier, and that's only a select few games.
It's the EA core games.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, that there's not a bad idea, like if you don't want to have all the bells and whistles and things like that. But the Primo one that they passed that they have for that's now, I had it on PC and I think it was like $130 for the year.
And that's all new releases as well.
All new releases. Every single game that is in their store, regardless of whether it's an EA game or not, you can play. And that's brilliant. Like, but then you got ones like the Microsoft one that's come out, the Ultimate Pass, which is what they're going to now. And but the problem you've got with those is, oh well, it's only a select range of games that's available to you. Like, once the game's been pulled from the Games Pass, well, if you want to continue playing it, you have to buy it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's bullshit.
But they're really pushing their own games. So you'll be able to play all the new Microsoft releases on Games Pass without having to actually buy them until they decide to pull them. So I think they pulled a lot of Bethesda games from Games Pass because we can't play Wolfenstein anymore. What about Uplay's Game Pass?
I haven't really done anything with the Uplay one, but I believe the Uplay one is almost identical to the EA one, where it's you can play whatever game is on their platform and as much and as long as you want.
Okay. Alright. Got 5 minutes left. Best TV show for 2020.
Has there been any new TV series out this year?
We've watched Lucifer, Warrior Nun, Westworld. Those 3 that I can think of at the top of my head.
But they're not, like, Lucifer's not a new TV series. Westworld was not a new TV series. Warrior Nun was. There's been lots of random things we've been watching.
We're going to start watching Watchmen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what about best game released so far?
So far, I would have to probably say Ghost of Tsushima.
Not going to go with Command and Conquer.
Oh, don't get me wrong, Command and Conquer is brilliant, but it's not a new release, it's a remaster. Like, I absolutely love and adore Command and Conquer. You know, Kane is life, you know. But it's not like if it was new Command and Conquer stuff, then sure. Or if it was an EA, if you're listening, I will pay you many monies if you remaster Red Alert 2 and Tiberian Sun. I will do many things for you to make that happen.
You're not giving away our firstborn child.
Oh no, that's not going to happen. But I'll do many other things. Like, I have 2 dogs out the back. If you need a barbecue, I'll hook you up.
No, you're not. No, you're not trading our dogs for a remaster.
I don't know. I mean, Tiberian Sun's pretty amazing.
Okay, before we go, remasters is a huge thing this year, and they're going to be a huge thing going forward. Do you think we're going to see as many new original titles released in the next 5 years?
Probably not. I think you're going to see more remasters coming out because people want to relive their childhoods instead of experiencing new stuff, really. I mean, look, don't get me wrong, there's certain games from my childhood that would be absolutely epic if they were remastered. But at the same time, it's, you know, I've been there, I've done that, I've finished it. And it's like, yeah, it's playing a game through rose-tinted glasses, but it's not necessarily something I want to go back and play again. Like, when Command & Conquer, the remaster came out, I absolutely smashed that for a week solid. But it's, you know, you look back and you remember fondly on how great the game was, and it is still great, but it does have its glaring issues compared to games of today. The one thing I will comment on, though, for Command & Conquer, and especially for those that are Command & Conquer fans out there, the remastered music that comes with it from Frank Klepacki and the Tiberian Sons is absolutely epic. Like, I cannot recommend it enough. It is available on Spotify as well. And it is an amazing soundtrack. And the best part is it puts our son to sleep when we're driving anywhere because the kid's got good taste in good music.
I wouldn't say good taste in good music. I think he's just well attuned to it.
He loves it.
No. Do you think if it was a remaster then led into a new game, you'd support remasters more? They're doing it with Crash Bandicoot. They remastered Crash Bandicoot and now they're releasing a new game.
I don't really know. I mean, it'd be hard to say for what game, though. Like, Crash Bandicoot, I don't really care because I never had a PlayStation growing up. You know.
Okay, one last one. PlayStation, Xbox, or PC?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's only one answer. It's PC 5 Live.
And what are you gonna go play after this?
Probably some Warcraft Classic.
Okay. I'm gonna go play Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm a PC fan. I would never have thought I'd say I was a PC fan, but I'm definitely a PC fan. But yeah. Do you have anything to say before we head off?
No, not really.
No? Do you think you'll be back next week?
Sure.
Do you think we got enough content to shoot this for an hour?
Probably.
Probably. Yeah.
Who knows? We might have some more people watching next time.
Maybe. We can only hope. Anyway, I will be back on Tuesday, I think, for I think some Final Fantasy. Maybe something else. And then I'll be back Thursday with some Fall Guys. And then Saturday we'll do another one of these. So yeah, I will catch you all next time. I'm Grumpy.
I'm Phalebus, yo.
And we'll see you next time.
Peace out, nerds.